Welcome back to the NBA Outlet Preview Series. We're looking at our 2019 today. I'm Nick Fay. With me, as always, Harris Wichard. What's up, Harris?
Doing pretty good, Nick. Ready to dive right into the 29th ranked team, the Philadelphia 76ers. I happen to disagree and think they're the worst team in the NBA. I know we touched on the Nets being a little better than them, but we'll get into all of that, additions, departures, free agent signings. I'm excited to get the 29th rolling.
Yeah, like you said, I think the Sixers, they've been finishing last in the league the last few seasons. I think that's going to happen again this year. Just not a very good team. The pieces don't really fit together. We're going to go through the whole roster. I know they did have the exciting draft pick of Ben Simmons, but I don't agree with the rankings. They're definitely the worst team still.
Yeah, I mean, Ben Simmons, like you said, it's going to be an interesting project. I don't think he's going to be the rookie of the year. We could get into that maybe later on in our podcast and who our rookie of the year and predictions are going to be. But I think he's got some learning to do. Not a great shooter, very good passer, could play the point guard position at times. 6'5", 6'6", 6'7". What is he, 6'7"? So 6'6", 6'7". So I think he's a very, very good playmaker, but I'm not so sure how much he's going to score it. And this team needs some scoring. So Noel and Okafor will benefit from him, but this team is still too young to make any serious noise.
Yeah, there's just not enough pieces on this team. But like you said, Ben Simmons, I think he probably will win Rookie of the Year just because.
I'm sorry, he's 6'10", by the way, not 6'7", 6'10".
Yeah, so he's a big, small forward who has a versatile skill set. He's going to have the ball a ton in Philadelphia, so his numbers are going to be huge. That's why I definitely think he'll probably go away with Rookie of the Year. He'll help Noel. He'll help Okafor, help Embiid if he plays. He'll set these guys up with some nice passes, with some easy buckets. He had some really nice moments in Summer League. It was a little bit weird that he didn't play in every game in Summer League, that he wanted to take some rest, but whatever. Hopefully when the NBA season starts, he comes out blazing. We'll talk about the other Sixers draft pick, name I can't pronounce.
Oh, what are you talking about? You're talking about Timothy Luwawu, excuse me, even I'm tough on this one. Timothy Luwawu-Cabarrot.
Yeah, so this is an international player right here. Gives him some much-needed wing depth. Huge athlete, come in, throw it down. He's going to play hard. He does have some skills. He just needs to keep developing those skills and become a nice player, a nice 3-and-D player for the Sixers in the future. He could definitely help this team because their wings aren't very good.
Yeah, he was impressive in Las Vegas. I thought, from what I saw of him, I didn't see a ton, but he was active, played 25 minutes a game, and he scored a little bit for them. So, like you said, athletic body, 6'6", 205, can jump a little bit, maybe a little bit of a poor man's Greek freak. Maybe one of those bodies that's athletic and can run the floor. He's from France, so he could be a nice little piece for them. And he could be probably coming off the bench, giving them some energy.
Yeah, I mean, he could even maybe end up starting on this roster. I mean, they do have Gerald Henderson, who they signed this year, but the other two guards are the other wing players. He could definitely see a lot of minutes and have a nice chance to really develop his game this year.
Yeah, and like I said, this is a Philadelphia team that's lacked depth at the guard position for a really long time. Probably maybe since Allen Iverson, they haven't had anybody at the guard position to make any serious impact. So if Simmons is going to be playing on the ball, I mean, they really don't have a ton else at the position. I mean, Bayless is, what Jared Bayless is. He's not much. And, Sergio Rodriguez, we know, is not much. So this is a team that, again, and then TJ McConnell is almost a joke. So it really is going to be tough for this team because of the lack of their guard play. They have Kendall Marshall from UNC who could be okay, but they don't have any stability at the point guard position, and that's really going to hold them back.
Yeah, that's why I think Simmons is going to have the ball a ton. So, and then also they signed their 2014 pick, Dario, who played for, I think, Croatia in the Olympics. He didn't play as well as he probably could have in the Olympics, but he showed off his passing ability. So I think he could give them some playmaking, but that also brings up the issue. All these big men, they definitely have to make a trade. I think it's been known that they want to move either Embiid, Okafor, or Noel by the time the season starts because obviously.
Well, I don't think they're going to move Okafor. I think they really want to, give him a chance to develop. Guy almost slipped to the Knicks at 4. The Knicks are fortunate enough they got Porzingis. I think Porzingis is a little brighter future than Okafor, but Okafor is still a very bright future in the league, I think, as long as he can keep his attitude in check. not fight people in clubs in Boston that are talking trash to him. So I think they will definitely hold on to Okafor, the Dookie. And I think Noel or Embiid, and I think they're going to lean towards getting rid of Embiid. I know he's had some injury trouble. He hasn't played a ton. He's talked a lot of trash on Twitter. One of the more real guys on Twitter that's basically going to tell you exactly how he feels. I'm not sure that's the best thing for a professional athlete. I like the Okafor-Noel combination. I think both of those guys can play side to side. Not really either of them is a true center, but Okafor is as true of a center in today's NBA as you're going to find at 275. So I think Noel and Okafor at the 4-5 with Simmons. Maybe in 3 years they can make the playoffs, but right now they're still at the bottom of the East.
Yeah, I mean, see, my thing would be, like you could try to trade Embiid, but you're not going to get any good value for him. Noel's value is like somewhat high. Okafor is going to give you the most back. So, right. I mean, it depends of what you think of Embiid if you're the Sixers. If you think Embiid can be special and he can get over these injuries, then maybe you're okay moving Okafor because, that's going to be your center, and then you have Saric. So it's interesting to see what the Sixers decide to do if they go for the trade that gives them the most value or they just get rid of the guy they don't want the most.
Yeah, but it's definitely, like you said, a little bit too much. I mean, sometimes in the NBA, you can't have enough of something, but at this stage of the Sixers' progress and where they are at the state of their franchise, I think this is the time where they would move one. Also, at this time, you also need guys that can move up and down the floor, stretch the floor. We know the game is changing, and these are three guys that like the ball in the post. I mean, Noel is, out of all the guys, I think Noel could stretch it a little bit. Okafor could shoot it, but these are big dudes that sometimes struggle to guard quicker players. So, yes, there's going to be some movement in Philly, and I also think they need to somehow either in free agency next year in the draft address their dreadful backcourt situation.
Yeah, they definitely need a big-time guard. I mean, you got to give Colangelo some credit. The new GM, they got rid of Hinkie. They brought in some veterans this offseason. They brought in Jared Bayless, Gerald Henderson, Sergio Rodriguez. Three guys, that can have the ball in their hands, maybe help these young players, get them in better positions to succeed. Having all young guys doesn't always work, so having some veteran presence, I think, will benefit these guys.
Yep. And also Brett Brown, the head coach, been there for a few years, and now Mike D'Antoni, the associate head coach. So they might score a little bit more. I remember when Ish Smith got there, but now he's not there anymore. They picked it up a little bit, but another, we talked about Atkinson and with the Nets. This is going to be another one that, we know their offense is going to be much improved. Right now, their starting lineups probably look something like Bayless, Simmons, Okafor, Noel, and whoever they want to slide in Henderson there. I mean, it's very much a work in progress in Philly right now, and I think it's going to take a ton of time. But
yeah, so they did bring in the veteran guys, but some departures they had, they didn't really lose anybody. Isaiah Cannon, Ish Smith did pretty well for them, but he wasn't going to do much with this team. Went to Detroit, has a better chance to win some games. I think Ellen Brand's probably going to retire. And Christian Wood, I don't know if he signed with anybody. I'm sure he'll probably sign a training camp deal with maybe somebody or end up in the D-League or International.
Gotcha. Yeah. Ish Smith gave them a nice spark at times last year. I don't know if he was the answer for them at that position, but he definitely gave them a better chance to win some games, and he was a competitive guy. Like I said, they didn't lose a ton. They gained a little bit more. They had the number 1 draft pick. I guess it's looking up for them, but they still have a lot of things to figure out.
Yeah, I think they're probably in better position than last year, but obviously if you get a number 1 pick, you're going to be in a better position than you were the previous season. But talking about, we talked about the acquisitions. What about the guys that are coming back? Who do you think on this team, they have a good amount of players coming back? Who's a guy or two that you think needs to step up and really help this team get better?
It's going to have to be New Orleans Noel from Kentucky. He's had some good moments in the league. I mean, Okafor is still only in his second season. Noel had some injury trouble, and he's been inconsistent. But I think if he goes from being an 11-a-game guy and 8 rebounds to a 15-game guy and 10 rebounds, that's really going to help Okafor also and clear up some room for him to work. So Noel, to me, is going to be their best player at times. Maybe it's Simmons at times. Maybe it's Okafor at times. But I think the biggest and the guy that they're going to look to lead this young group is going to be Noel.
Yeah, I think Noel definitely needs to add to his offensive game. He gives them that nice energy and effort, athleticism. I think he's got a lot of the potential as a defender with his size and his length. But I'm going to look for, Okafor. He had a pretty good start to the season last year, and then he had those issues off the court, and then he had the injury. He missed the rest of the season. So look for him to get back. Maybe he ends up on another team or he gets a Sixers some good value. I think his presence in the post is interesting. A lot of teams don't have big men. And I think after a year playing the NBA, he kind of picks up on some of the things that the veterans kind of did to him that kind of made him less successful, just a little
couple things about Okafor that you really like. Shot 50% from the field. That's a bonus. That's good. Not so good, 68 from the line, so he's got to pick that up a little bit. Offensive rebounds, 2. I think he could get that maybe one more higher, 2 higher. But 7 rebounds total, not terrible for a rookie. He was 17 a game, which is a little bit higher than I actually thought. He was 17 and a half, and he only played 53 games. So probably similar to Porzingis and a lot of upside. I still think Kristaps was a better pick, but I think Okafor's got a lot of upside. And yes, but I just don't think they're going to lean on him as much as you might think. He's again, second year, showed some extreme immaturity. Very rare for some Coach K guys. Usually the Coach K Duke guys come in and they're ready mentally. I don't think he was ready mentally for the league. I think he makes an adjustment in year 2. And I think him and Noel keep them in a lot of games, but overwhelmingly against some of the better teams, they're going to struggle. But I think they're in a lot of games, but they won't be able to finish.
Yeah, down the stretch, they'll fall apart. I think Okafor really needs to work on his defense.
Yeah, that's true. He's not tough enough. That's true.
Yeah, he's not tough enough. He doesn't use his size. You don't have to be extremely athletic to be a good defender. Look at what Tim Duncan did.
Right.
He didn't have to block a shot into the 5th row. He didn't have to get up there. It's all about positioning. Half the game is mental. So Okafor, if he can work on his basketball IQ defensively, I think that would be a huge help.
Nick, you said half the game is mental. I would disagree. That's even more than half the game is mental. I mean, a lot of these guys, there's a lot of athletic dudes out there not playing in this league because they cannot mentally prepare and mentally do the things you need to do. So you said half. I almost say 3/4, 80%. I mean, ask anybody who's made the leap and ask any of the players that made a leap from being a good player in this league to great player in this league, and they will tell you it was everything in my mind. So I hear what you're saying. I almost think it'd be more than that.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that too. You would know better than me. You're playing Division III basketball, so I think basketball IQ is probably underrated a little bit nowadays. So,
right.
But we'll talk back to the Sixers. You think they're going to be better or worse this season?
How many games did they lose last year?
I know they had under 20 wins.
Yeah, I could take a look at the standings, but I think they're going to be better too. I mean, it's hard to have a season like they did last year and think that that's going to – I should have known this off the top. They were 10-72, so how could you be worse than that? I don't even know if it's possible to be worse than 10-72. This is a team that was 7-34 at home. That has to be an NBA record for a record at home. 7-34. That's almost a guaranteed win coming into Philly. They started 0-18, 0-19. Now I remember because they were so bad that I didn't want to watch at all when they played, and they were almost in order. You used to pick guys against them. You used to not be able to pick guys in DraftKings because those games were over in the 3rd quarter against them. So, yes.
Sometimes the 2nd quarter.
Yes. So I will say that, yes, they will win more than 10 games. I hope and I pray for everybody in Philadelphia that they're way more competitive than the 72-loss team they put on the floor last year.
Yeah, I think they'll definitely be better just with the talent of Ben Simmons. I think he'll give them a few extra wins. And like you said, it's pretty hard to be that bad again. And the few veteran guys they brought in, I think will help them a lot. But still, they're going to be a bad team, but I think they'll be better than they were last season.
Definitely. We're in agreement on that.
Yeah, so, I mean, my final prediction for this team, they'll probably finish last, if not last, bottom 2 or 3 for sure and end up in the tie lottery again, hopefully acquiring a guard or a wing player to help them, take the next step.
Yeah, final prediction, because I like putting the number out there. I'm going to say 25-57. That's right where I see them. I think, again, 15 wins up improvement. Simmons shows some flashes, but it's still a pretty bad basketball team. I think Okafor shows he's a 20-point-a-game guy. Noel shows that he's improved. And they only have a couple guys, though. Their bench is very thin. They don't have a lot of guard play. They're going to be in a lot of games. I'd say out of those 57 losses, only like 10 or 12 of them are going to be by 15+. I think they're going to be in a lot of games, down the stretch, not able to close. 25 wins is my prediction for the Philadelphia 76ers.
I might even go with a little bit less, but you never know. Some of these young guys on the bench, these second-year guys, they got a lot of young talent, could make that jump. But are you going to watch the Sixers on League Pass?
For Simmons only. So I would say yes, only because of Simmons. I'll tune into some of his games. I know they'll put a couple of them on national TV. But again, same thing with the Nets. Only when I have to, only when they're playing good teams. So the overwhelming answer would probably be no. But again, Simmons makes there's an asterisk. Anytime you have a number one pick, you always want to see how he turns out.
Yeah, the Sixers are in the Nets division, so they'll play them a couple times. I'll check out all those games. Maybe watch Simmons when he goes against, the number 2, number 3 pick in the draft, whoever,
Right.
Some of the top picks, see how he does. But I'll check in here and there, but for the most part, I probably won't watch a full Sixers game unless it's against the Nets.
Gotcha.
So then on to our final segment today, the truth. We picked the emoji for the Sixers. Harris, what do we got today?
Well, we got the family emoji. There's 4 people in it. We got a little family going on, dad, mom, brother, sister. And the reason why I say that is there's just not enough room here for everybody. And anytime I use that emoji, it seems a little cluttered. So we're going to go with the family emoji because of the clutteredness of the front court of the Sixers. And we think that they should definitely move on from one of these 3 players.
Yeah, sadly, one of these family members is going to have to leave. It's a little bit too
many, Dad had enough. He had to leave the home.
Yeah, so he's out of here and, on to the next one. But wraps it up for the Sixers. God bless Sixer fans. They're probably going to need it this season.
All right, guys. Enjoy.